Hey everybody, it's Dimo. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the PvP and about how to get better at PvP and just about a general topic. The whole video is going to contain the PvP clips where I chase people down or I fight them, where I end up win fights as a basic example. Pretty much everyone going to have those. Anyway, let's get to the point. So basically, what is PvP based off and what do you need to do to win the fights? It's actually quite simple and straightforward. No matter what class you play, it all comes to one very simple thing, and that's getting advantage over other players. Whether or not you're playing a fighter, rogue, barbarian, doesn't matter what class you are, the concept remains the same. It's pretty much all about the macro game. What is macro game? Well, pretty much is the ability to analyze the circumstances you're in, the ability to approach fights and decide whether or not you want to take the fight in the first place, or if you want to be part of a fight, or if you want to, you know what I mean. Pretty much the concept is very simple, is to decide whether or not you are capable of winning the fight in the first place. The reason behind these words are very simple, is this game is intended to be a rock, paper and scissors. Initially it was something like this. The barbarian dies to fighter, the fighter dies to wizard, the wizard dies to rogue, wizards also die to ranger, and it's kind of like that pretty much. But the more the game around, the more the game has shifted into the gear base. Pretty much your build, your skills and your perks with combination of the gear that you're going to have is going to decide what are you capable of. Then once you know what you're capable of, you need to figure out who is your counter. Once you know who is your counter, it really comes down to picking out the targets you're going to win against and seeing the possible outcome of the fight. Let's say you're rogue and you're fighting a warlock. You hit the fucking warlock 5 times, but you still end up dying to a single BOC hit in the head. Well, that's, my friend, is your fault and you should have thought about it. Basically, the game and the state of game is very unbalanced. So like there's it's completely another topic to talk about. Basically, in this video we're going to talk about the PvP and how to win more PvP fights. Now, first thing first, you need to understand what are your strong sides of the class you're playing. Let's say you're playing fighter. Now, who can you kill? Pretty much every class. You can kill rogues, you can fight rangers. It's more or less going to be even matchmaking, because fighter has protection, ranger has damage and range. Basically fighter also have range, so it's an even match. So basically the person who has more skill is likely to win. Fighter can't really push the ranger can't really get too close to a fighter, so it's gonna be just a clusterfuck, you know what I mean. Pretty much every class has something that the class is very good at and something that it isn't. The very simple example is the wizard is good at throwing fireballs and the ranger is good at shooting bows, you know what I mean. And rogue is good at going inwards and attacking you from the shadows. While this is a kind of sarcasm, you need to understand that there is always some truth in every single joke. So basically, once you figure out what your class is capable of, then you would need to think about your gameplay, about things you're going to do in a fight. Let's say you figure out the target you want to fight with. Now you need to calculate the amount of damage you should do before you initiate the fight. There's a number of things that you need to include, such as whether or not you have protection pods, whether or not you have throwables, etc. There is a number of things that could go wrong, like overusing the potions. Let's say you're too close, the fighter has a sprint, and you decide to use a protection potion. By the time you finish using a protection potion, the fighter attack you twice and you're already half HP without a potion and without health and without and with a broken asshole. So basically, yes, there is a number of things to consider when it comes to fighting other players. My experience comes from Barbarian and Rogue. I'm player that played this class a lot and pretty much could tell what the PvP is consist of and what is based off. The Rogue is one of the hardest classes to play, and I'll explain why. There are too many classes that are way too much of a threat to a Rogue. Now I'm going to take a Rogue on par with any class that that Rogue is going to fight with equivalent gear. Now I'm not going to talk about a Rogue who has infinite amount of gear and who simply will two-shot every single class, because that's bullshit, and majority of players, me including, doesn't really have that as an option. Pretty much an evenly geared Rogue and against an evenly geared Barbarian might end up dying in one Zwei-hander hit or Felon Axe. Evenly geared Rogue against evenly geared Bard is likely to lose if the Bard has every single song activated. Same goes against BOC, against Wizard with Ignite, against Fighter. Well, basically the Rogue not really intend to fight fighters, especially if fighters have PDR or Slayer fighters. But at least against Slayer fighters, the Rogue has some chances to win. When it comes to face-to-face fight, the Rogue is going to lose pretty much against everyone. Now, the class used to be a little too strong, now it's a little too weak. But this whole video isn't really about Rogues, it's about PvP. But a Rogue is just such a good example that no matter what fight you take, first you need to drain the resources of the person you're fighting. Because of your ability to move quick around and use potions. So before you really got into the fight, you need to make sure that one, you're capable of killing the player faster than the player would kill you. So let's say you're a Rogue, you're trying to fight a fighter, it's a bad matchup, but you decide to do it anyway. You're fighting that guy for a solid fucking 5 minutes. You threw everything you had at him, and now you are figuring out whether or not you want to take fight. Now, let's say if you get too close and you don't kill that fighter in 2 through 3 hits, that fighter is likely to kill you in 2 hits instead. So you may end up in a situation where you lose anyway. So some fights are simply just not there to begin with to even approach. Some matches are just not meant to be won from the start, and that's probably the beauty of this game. There are some times you don't really have an option in the first place, but we love this game and we want to get better. And pretty much I want to conclude this video. If you want to win more fights, you need to take advantage of every single possible option you have. Whether or not the player got hit by a mob, or you have 20 throwing axes or knives. If you're Bard with drums that you have to throw, if you're Wizard with and you still have a bunch of spells, don't get too close to a fight until you threw them all at the person you're fighting. Anyway, I think I've covered all the aspects of the PvP, because at the end of the day, it's very simple and straightforward. You gotta gain advantage over the person you're fighting, and the moment you have enough advantage, the final outcome would remain the same. You would get into the melee fight, which this really game is based on, and then it all would come to whether or not you would be able to win the trade, in the last moment. Most of games alike are having the same concept. And Dark and Darker is one of the best among them all. Anyway, and with this, the video comes to an end. If you like the video, leave a like. If you don't like it, leave a dislike. If you was able to learn something, or you found this video useful at any point, press the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, it's Dimo, and I hope you have a wonderful day.